Setting yourself up for success with your weekly planning. I'm using reMarkable too. Well, actually, the reMarkable platform as a whole and playlists, a productivity app brought to you by Brandon Boswell. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody, back to the channel. This is 2530 Media, and of course, I am Aaron Reed. Hey, if you're new here, don't let it be your last time. Go ahead and find that subscribe button. And if you're finding the information that I'm giving you informative or just entertaining, you know what to do. Find that like button. All right, so it's the top of the week. You know what time it is. It's time to get that weekly planning, set ourselves up for success, and I will be using the reMarkable 2 as my main e-ink tablet for my planning with playlists, a productivity app brought to you by Brandon Boswell. You can find information on how to join playlists inside the comments of this video. All right, so it's been a couple of weeks since I've made a video about my weekly planning routine using playlists and e-ink. So we're going to dive back into it today. I'm going to show you guys how I'm using the reMarkable 2 as my main planner for the week, setting myself up for success, identifying those focus items, those objectives that I need to hit throughout the week, a couple of to-dos, showing you guys where I write down my inspirational quotes for the week, and my reading material, what I'm reading. So we're going to visit that, as well as how I set up and plan out my week. And then I take that information from the reMarkable tablet and I throw it in playlists. Playlist is going to be that productivity app that I'm using that will help me facilitate the things that I need to do throughout the week, make sure I'm on top of those focus items, making sure I'm knocking out my objectives, and things that I can't fit in that schedule that I can kind of reschedule for the next week. I'll do that. And if I find some spare time within my weekly schedule, I'll plug in a couple of things that can help me be just a little bit more productive. So let's look at it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into our file structure and we're going to find our weekly planning. So like last time, this is going to be my notebook for my weekly planning. Now let's go over the first page in my planning notebook. This is going to be where I list my focus for the week and then my key objectives. I try to keep my key objectives at 3. And I have a overall focus theme for the week. Up here, I like to put a quote. So I'll have a quote that I'll start each week off with. And I'll find some quotes from something I'm reading, from something I ran across online. And I will start my week off with that quote. And so again, when it comes to my main objectives, I try not to have more than 3 main objectives. These are going to be the 3 most important things that I have to get done and work on for this week. From here, I have some to-dos listed. Now, these to-dos that I have listed, some of these go hand in hand with my main objective. I also have some to-dos that I would like to get done for projects that I am working on. My to-dos will be things that I probably can move around for the most part if something comes up within my schedule that I have to replace that time with. If I get through these to-dos rather quickly and I'm also moving through my main objectives at a good pace, I will add a couple of more to-dos within that work week to keep me productive. This last section down here is going to be reading. I try to read 1 book a week. With that, I mix it up. I mix it up from stories like fiction, and then I also will add some learning in, whether if I'm trying to learn a new discipline or if I'm doing some self-improvement reading. And so this week we're going to be doing a little bit of self-improvement reading. So now the next sheet that we're about to move to is going to just be how I'm planning out my week, which days I want to focus on which items, how much time I'm going to give them. So here we are. It's just a regular 7-day template that you can find within the reMarkable templates. And I just write out everything that I want to hit starting from Monday to Sunday. And I will establish if it's a work day for me or not. So I have Monday and Tuesday kind of filled with a lot of tasks that will be reserved for my content. I have a couple of doctor's appointments mixed in that. But for the most part, a lot of these tasks are going to be dedicated to working on my content, from the book project to editing some video and to actually recording, making some more content. That's what Monday and Tuesday is going to be filled with. Now, when we get to Wednesday through Friday, I'm going to be at work. Wednesday through Friday, that focus is going to be on that project I was telling you guys about for work, where I'm going to dedicate 2 45-minute sessions per day for that main project. And of course, I'm going to be doing this while I'm at work, but I still need to plan out that time as well. Outside of that, I have some things mixed in for my content. Another main focus of mine this week is getting that work done on the book project when it comes to organizing my chapters that I've already finished. So that's why that is a key thing that I'm going to hit every day. Outside of that, I have mixed in here my Tech Trapper Live YouTube show that I do on Wednesdays and Fridays, if I can squeeze it in. And also mixed in here, I have a couple of Zoom meetings. Also within this plan, I have a couple of brainstorming sessions set up for work on the next upcoming chapters that I need to write for the book and for my YouTube content that I will be creating. So I have a couple of spots identified in there for that as well. And of course, as we move through the rest of the workbook, this is the sheet that I use primarily on work days. And that's where I will fill in information that pertains to the work, things that have come up that I need to list, that I need to knock out, that I might have to modify that daily planning for. I'll put that information here. I'll also write a couple of quick recaps of the work that I've done, things that might need to carry over to the next day. I'll put all of that here. And at the end of my workday, I will take this sheet, make a copy of it, and move it over to my work journal. And of course, this page here, which is also primarily used at work, this is where I just list out my day as it flows. This is where I will put down what I have going on, how much time I actually used for those tasks that I allocated out. So for example, the project that I'm working on that I'm allocating 45 minutes twice a day for within my workday, I'll write down a quick note here, meaning if I needed the full 45 minutes, I'll just notate that. If I got it done quicker, I'll make a note of that as well. Or if I need to allocate a little bit more time on the next day, I will put that there. Other things that get put here, if meetings pop up that weren't scheduled, I'll write that down in the appropriate time slot. If new tasks are added, I'll write that down as well. If it has a deadline of the same day, I will make sure I notate that. If it has a deadline for another day, I will also write those notes there too, and then go add them into playlists, which we're going to check out next. This sheet as well also will get copied and moved over to my work journal. So now let's jump into playlists, and I'll show you guys what playlist looks like once I insert all of this there. And now I get a true map of how my week can flow. And if I have some gaps and spaces where I can add a couple of things, not to overload myself, but just add a couple of things, we'll put that in there as well. So now let's jump over to playlists. I've cleared the playlist calendar so I can show you guys how I make these entries. The things that you see already here in blue, these are going to be scheduled events from my Google Calendar. Playlists will sync with your Google Calendar. Well, I use my Google Calendar with my iOS calendar, so that's what I use to sync with my playlists. So the things you see here in blue, these are things that were scheduled through my calendar. So here I have those appointments scheduled in blue here. I also have my Tech Trapper Live show scheduled in through my calendar. I use the calendar to schedule those in case I have a guest. I can send the link and I know that I have an upcoming guest when I'm viewing playlists. Some other things I have is going to be my 2530 media content planning session that I have each week on Thursday. Now I have this here. Sometimes I reschedule it, but I also schedule this through my Google Calendar in case I need to invite someone on. So I'll show you guys how I add entries into the playlist, identify those things as a focus item, a high energy item, or a low energy item. So I'll show you guys how I do that, and I'll start off by entering my workday. So we're going to click on the plus sign to add a task. Now, the first task that we're going to add is going to be my workday. So I'm just going to put workday. So you can put whatever you want to put inside the notes. I don't have any notes for my regular workday. Now, this is where you can add a date to it. So we're going to start with Wednesday the 11th. Now I'm going to put my time in. From here, you can put what genre that you have. So I have a couple of genres here. Now you can always add a genre if you want to. For work, I don't add any genres. For energy level, work is always going to be focus. Now duration. Now this is where you put a duration in for your task. You have some preloaded time durations here up into 120 minutes. You can also use the method of just dropping your task inside of the calendar and then dragging it for the duration that you need. When it comes to work, I normally don't put a duration down because it's going to take up 8 to 12 hours of that day. I'll just put it where it starts, and then I'll put it where it stops, and then I'll fill in the information in between for other tasks that I have going on throughout that workday. This is where you're going to put up if this task reoccurs or not. So you can have it reoccurring for every day, every weekday, every weekend, every month, or every year. Since my work schedule fluctuates so much, I usually don't use reoccurring for my work. I just go in and throw workday in on those days that I know I will be at work. Now, if I want to, I can modify it. I can grab this and I can drag it down to when I get off. It lets me know that I set my task duration for 510 minutes, and then I can move on to the next task. So now once I've created my first work day entry, I can go back, hit the plus sign, and add my next task for work, or I can simply just duplicate it. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna click on that event. Now I'm just gonna hit duplicate. Now that I duplicated it, I'm just gonna drag it to that next work day. So now I have my work week scheduled out in playlists. So now I can go plug in some of those other tasks. And so now this pretty much is what my playlist schedule looks like as of right now, with me planning out those key focus points or focus tasks, having my appointments put in there as well, having those meetings put in there as well. So now I kind of have a snapshot of what my week looks like. All right, so that was my plan for this week. So we'll revisit it at the end of the week. I'll let you guys know how it went, if I was able to knock out all of my focus items and objectives. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about my method. Do you think it's good? Do you see any ways I can improve in it? What e-ink tablets are you guys using if you're using e-ink? And what type of system do you have for your weekly planning to set yourself up for success? Are you using an app like Playlist, or are you just kind of old school? Pen and paper, write it down, try to get to it. Thank you for checking out the channel. I'll see you guys on the next video. I guess I better get to work. Welcome everybody back to the channel. This is 2530 Media, and of course, I am Aaron Reed. Today we're checking out the Penstar eNote Pro. It's color.